so I wanted to talk about a hot topic right now, and that is who should pay on dates. Should it be the man or should it be the woman? This is a hot topic right now. I believe there's an article in Time magazine right now about that, and it's causing quite a stir. And I have both sides of the argument right now. So basically, a lot of guys that I know are just like, damn straight she should pay. Women should pay for themselves, and men shouldn't be expected to pay, and blah, 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 blah. Well, my opinion on this is he who asks for the date, who asks the other person out, should be he who offers to pay. Whether that's a male or a female. If the woman asks a guy out, she should be prepared to pay as well. I believe that it's rude to ask someone out. For instance, this is what happened to me in college. I had met this guy, and he wanted to go to this movie. I had no interest in going into this movie, but he was like, come on with me, I want to see this movie. Let's go out to see this movie. So I'm thinking, okay, he's asking me out. I don't really want to see this movie, but he wants to see it really bad, so I'll go. So we go there. We get up to the counter. He's like, one for whatever movie it was. And I'm just standing there, and he just looks at me and grins like, you got it? And I could tell then he was one of those guys that was like, oh no, there's no way I'm paying $1 for you. There's none. But I honestly, I'm not a gold digger. I don't look for guys to pay my way or to get financial things out of guys. However, I would be a liar to say that it didn't put me off a little bit when he was just like, you got it? And I think it was because I wasn't expecting it. I'm thinking he invited me out to go to this movie that he wanted to see. Not a movie that I wanted to see. Not a movie that we both wanted to see. So I'm thinking he's going to offer to treat. And he didn't. So it I kind of felt that was a little bit rude, to be honest. But to him, he was just like, maybe that was just his thing. He doesn't pay for women. And it was a first date too. I think overall that a man, if you ask a woman out, you should just pay. You should just pay on the first date. I'm not saying pay every time. And I'm not saying go bankrupt trying to date a woman. That's not what I'm saying. If money is a concern and you're meeting somebody for the first time, just meet at like a coffee shop or something like that, or a museum. A lot of these museums will have like maybe one night a week where it's open for free. Or maybe they have like, I think the museum here has like jazz on Fridays, and it's completely free. People meet up there. You could talk and everything. And that's the whole point of dating, especially a first date, is to talk and get to know the person. You can't really talk and get to know somebody in a movie. You can't. If you're in a restaurant, you kind of can. But, I hear a lot of guys saying that. And I get the guys' complaint is that they feel used or maybe taken advantage of because they're constantly expected to put out money, and then there's no guarantee that either they'll get the girl or even a second date or any ass in the excuse my language, I don't mean to be crass, but they put out the money and they pay this woman's way and they're chivalrous and everything, and they don't even have any guarantee of any return on their investment. So I think that's what it is, and I do understand that. However, I think one has to be careful about the spirit with which you do things. Now, before I go further, I just want to say this. I'm not saying that there aren't any gold digging women. I'm not saying that there aren't jerk women out there that, I guess, have dinner with men that they don't like just to get free food, which, I'm sorry, I find that incomprehensible. There's no way I'm going to go out with some guy that I don't like or that I'm not attracted to just for free food. Like, No, I can buy my own food. Because here's the thing, there's nothing in life that's free. And I know that. If I go out with some guy that I'm not interested in, it's just going to make him want to call me nonstop, and I'm not interested in him, and that would be a bad thing. I would be like, no, I don't want him to call me, you know. And even once I went out with a guy, and he was just a disaster. And you know how fast I offered to pay, because I wanted to pay, because I want this guy to know that I didn't want him to think I owed him anything, and I did not want to hear from him again. So this was my way of saying, bam, goodbye. I'll offer to pay my way, so you don't have to bug me anymore, or whatever, or think that I owe you anything. So I get it, but I think a lot of these men have to realize that they're not the only ones that take a risk when it comes to dating and getting to know someone. Women may not have as much of a risk, I guess, financially or as far as money when regards to dating, but we take our risks too. And usually that is with sex and intimacy. While the man is worried about, I have to pay her way or something like that, and she might use me, and I spend all this money on her, and I don't either get anything out of it, or she just stops talking to me. Women are worried about when we have sex, when we finally have sex, is he going to be a jerk and never call me again, and try to blame it on me and say that I gave it up too soon or whatever. So we have our crosses to bear as well. You know, women are just as afraid of being used as men are when it comes to getting to know someone. And you really do, each person, man and woman, needs to be cautious with somebody new, because you don't know if the person's a jerk in the beginning. You don't know. Only time will tell that. So men, if you want to be careful, then stop whining about spending money. If you invite her out, offer to pay. If you don't want to pay a whole lot of money, then go somewhere that's inexpensive, period. But don't be tacky and invite her out and then be like, I'm not paying for you. If she offers to pay, and many women will offer to pay, then yes, that's fine. Go ahead and let her pay. But it will win you points if you insist on paying the bill, even if it's just like $4 for a coffee or something like that, or $5. If you go to Starbucks, it's gonna be like $5 or $6, but it will win you those little extra points. And if you really like the girl and you want to impress them, I think that $5 well spent. But just like a woman, you know, say a woman has been burned by a guy who she slept with and he never called her again. Just like she can't say, well, I'm never having sex again, and I'm holding out till marriage, and all men are pigs, and all they want is one thing, and they want to use me, and I'm going to wait 6 months before I have sex. Like, you know, they go off the deep end, and they go to extremes because they've been burned. Women do that too. The same thing that men do with money, where they get burned. I'm not paying for her. You just don't want to do that, because okay, guys, ask yourself, if you meet a woman that's just like, well, men, they ain't getting none of this. They ain't getting none of this. And he's going to have to wait 8 months for it and blah, blah, blah. What is the first thought you're going to have in your mind about this woman? You may think she's the most beautiful woman. You're sitting across the table from her, and she's coming off like this. She's coming off like, no, yeah. You're going to be like, you're like, I'm out of here, because she is a nutbag, and I don't want to be around someone who's negative like that. And besides, why should I have to pay for some other person's mistakes? But just think, if you come across kind of grasping about money, and I'm not going to get taken advantage of, blah, 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 you don't want to come off like that either to a woman, because she's going to see that and do the same thing. She's going to be like, this guy is a nutbag, and run off. And you will get rid of the gold diggers, yes, but you will get rid of good women too, who have generous hearts. And people with generous hearts and people with good hearts, they don't want to be with somebody who's like ultra cheap and stingy. There's a difference between being frugal and smart and just stingy. Stingy people have the means, whether it's even just $5, but they refuse to spend it because of the principle of the thing, because somebody else did them wrong and somebody else used them and took advantage of them, and they're making the person in front of them pay for the mistakes of the person behind them, which is bad, which is not conducive to creating anything positive, namely a good relationship. So if you want a good relationship with a good person, change your heart, change the way you approach it. Of course, be safe, and be smart, but don't close your heart off, and don't be like, I'm not going to X, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that, and I'm blah, blah, blah. You're coming at it with the wrong tactic, and you're only going to draw negativity to you. Just be careful, but be loving, and be smart at the same time. It's a balance of all three. So that's all I wanted to say about that. I wish everybody luck and love, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.